David, Melissa, back to you.
Boy, that raises a lot of questions, Blake. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And here now to help sort through some of them is Devin Nunes. He is House Intelligence Committee Chairman. Let's start with the idea of why did it take the Washington Post for us to figure this out? Because there had been folks along the way who had said, as we continue down this trail of looking at the dossier and Russian interference, we're going to find connections to the Clinton camp. Why did it take the Washington Post for that to come out?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that either Fusion GPS or the Democrats leaked it directly to the Washington Post, likely because they knew that this was going to come out eventually, because we have subpoenas that are waiting. They're continuing to be enforced. They invoked their Fifth Amendment rights the week before. And so my guess is they leaked it. But there's still a lot more to come. I'm sure, look, these are favorable reporters that they leaked this to. These were the go-to people for the Obama administration, for the Clinton campaign people. So this is probably the most favorable line that they're going to get from any reporters.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens, because we're continuing to fight here in the House of Representatives to get all of the information as to who paid for this dossier, and also who used the dossier. Did the FBI or DOJ use this dossier for anything in terms of any types of investigations?
Yeah.
That would be a major problem if that happened.
Fusion GPS is a company that we know that Russian President Vladimir Putin has used to dig up dirt, whether true or false, or smear or malign his own enemies. I mean, that includes Sergei Magnitsky. So does this prove collusion between the Clintons or the DNC and Russia by proxy, or is it just a coincidence that they all use the same smear firm?
Well, those are some of the questions that we want answered. So, we don't know yet whether or not the Russians paid Fusion GPS, but obviously we would like to know that. It's a very much an important part of our investigation to get to the bottom of that. So look, we're continuing to ask these questions, and we're continuing to get stonewalled, not just by Fusion GPS. We're also having problems. Speaker of the House this morning called on DOJ and the FBI to get us the information that we've been asking for, that we subpoenaed for over 2 months regarding this dossier. And so, look, this is starting to eventually, the truth will get its boots on. We're just hoping that it happens sooner rather than later.
If the Clinton camp and the DNC, in fact, did pay for at least a portion of this, and then this information, which ended up being debunked, was used to get surveillance and wire approval, what does that mean to you?
Well, this is a lot of the concerns that many of my colleagues have had for many years.
But what would that mean? What would the repercussions be?
Well, depends to what level, right? So we don't know, was it the primary evidence that was used? If it was, I think that's going to be a big problem for a lot of Americans. This should send shivers up people's spine if this was used, if this dossier was used for anything, period. Because look, if this is what happens in banana republics,
right.
That people use, they use the intelligence services to go get information, or they give information to the intelligence services to start an investigation into the opposition party. You can only imagine if the shoe was on the other foot here, what would have happened.
Right, and it's stuff that didn't end up being true. I mean, that's one of the most important things about this, is that there's Oppo research, and then there's, smear campaigns. And if this is, American money and or Russian money working together to create a smear campaign, that's horrible. But then if that smear campaign was then used to spy on the opponent during a campaign, I mean, this is a huge problem for our democracy, is it not?
Absolutely. I mean, look, as I said last week in California, there is more evidence today of Democrats colluding with Russians than there are with Trump colluding with Russians. I said it last week, and every week that goes by, we have more and more information that leads that way, leads in that direction. And that's why it's important that all of these investigations get to the bottom of what actually happened. But at this point, we don't see any evidence of collusion with the Trump campaign.
If what I described is what happened, and we're not saying that, we're saying that this is what needs to be investigated because there's evidence pointing in the direction that at least needs to be investigated. Does anyone go to jail for that?
Well, we're in uncharted territory then. So, we can't jump to conclusions. That's why we have to get all the facts. That's why we need all the information from Fusion GPS. That's why we need all the information from the FBI and DOJ. Once we have all of those documents, all of that evidence, then we can actually start to analyze, did someone break the law? Was it an abuse of power? Do laws need to be changed? And remember, I want to make sure the viewers know, this is information that the House Intelligence Committee asked for in March. And we're now almost to November. So this is, I think, the longer the intelligence agencies wait to give Congress the information, the worse it's going to get for them if, in fact, this dossier was used as a tool to do surveillance and spy on opposing political campaigns.
Sir, that's what's next. You're demanding the documents. You need to see them, and then you bring people in order to question them. That's what we should be looking for next, those of us who are interested in this story.
That would be the logical place to go, yes.
All right. Congressman, I hope you will come back as things develop, because obviously there's a lot of very concerning things here that Americans want to know about. Yeah, well, and also tax reform. I know you're going to talk about it later on your show. But, hey, that's our favorite thing here on this show. We are 100% focused on tax reform. Go ahead, sir. What were you saying? Well, I'm just saying this is so important. It's about making the economy boom. Yep. And we're glad you're covering it. It's a mundane topic, but it's so important to the future of this economy. Yeah, not to us. It's not mundane. It's very important. Sir, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. My pleasure. Thank you.